Some Peorians are demanding action after park shootings tied to youth violence, wanting parks to feel safe for everyone. Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Janice Rebholz. A call to action meeting brought out parents, neighbors, leaders pressing for a more focused response. Kayla Johnson with their concerns in the studio tonight.
Janice, these parks are supposed to be a safe place for kids to play and families to gather. But after shootings here in Peoria, people who live nearby say they're changing their routines, and they're pushing the city leaders to bring safety back, starting right here.
I am hurt and very, very disappointed in what is going on in our city today. Our children today, they shouldn't have to be concerned about that, too afraid to go out. Senior citizens afraid to go outside to go to the store.
Neighbors say several recent incidents tied to youth violence have put Peoria parks under a microscope, creating fear in spaces that should feel open and welcome. Residents are asking for a stronger police presence, urging the Peoria Police Department to check in more often, especially during the hours kids and teens are most likely to be out. Many said violence isn't new, but when the community knows it's concentrated in parks, the response should be targeted, combating it head on. Others say the solutions have to start at home, putting pressure on parents to be more involved and check in more often.
When the child acts up, we should have the parents some kind of way responsible. And I think when you put the pressure on the parents, they'll put the pressure on their children.
There were also concerns about how kids are spending time. Some residents saying young people don't know how to communicate or have fun without conflict, and boredom is being filled with drinking, drugs, and the wrong crowd. Others suggested the music industry and broader influences may be playing a role as well. The president of the Peoria Park District Board of Trustees, Robert Johnson, says he wants the community to be heard and he wants this to be an ongoing conversation. People we heard from tonight said they don't want to accept this as the new normal. They want parks to feel safe and welcoming again. And they want a plan that includes police presence, community partners, and families working together to stop the violence before it starts. Janice.